Yaho! Hi everyone, welcome to the second video. Well, it's kind of like episode 1, but it's the second video in the series of my Live2D Beginner's Guide. Yay! Welcome, welcome. So, this video, we're going to be going over like how to set up the model. So, we're still not rigging yet. I know, I'm sorry. But it's very important that you know these things so that you're not confused later on, okay? Sorry, I always look over to my other monitor because I like to see myself. Sorry. My tongue can come out and I abuse that fact. Okay. So, basically, we're going to start with clipping the model. Then we're going to move over to our deformer section area here. And we're going to set up our like main warps deformers so we can kind of separate everything, and so it's a little bit more neat, nice and tidy. And then we're going to set up our parameters, and I'm also going to show y'all a fun trick that you can do if you've already worked on a model before and you've done the parameters. You can actually import parameters from the other model, so it's pretty handy. But I'm assuming that most people watching this don't have a previous model, so we're gonna just be making them ourselves. Okay, so first off, let's start with this shadow right here. Now, if you're sorry, I heard a weird noise. So if you want to work on this model, I have linked it in the previous video. Make sure to watch that if you haven't already. I'll also link it in this video as well so that we can rig together. So let's take this shadow right here. And you're probably wondering, okay, so we clip it, what do we clip it to? Most of the time, the artist will have named the pieces what you need, if it needs to be clipped, when it needs to be clipped to. Like, for example, this is the top knit clothing shadow. So if I move myself, hold on, because I'm in the way. This folder called top neck clothing is probably what we have to clip it to. So let's take this ID right here and copy it, and then go into our shadow and go into the clipping ID and paste it. And that's gonna clip it to what it needs to be clipped to, right? To do the other one, you have to take the other ID, put a comma, and then paste it. And then boom, now it's clipped. Now it's clipped to exactly what you need it to be clipped to. And that's how you clip. That's how you clip everything. So now there's also this shadow right here. I can't, but as you can see, I can't really get to that. Like, it's not, I can click on it all I want, but I don't know, I can't get to it. So if you're ever struggling, if you're ever wondering how you can get to it, you right click and go to objects at cursor. This is a very handy tool that I use constantly because with so many layers, you know, you can't always easily access all of them, right? So this is the bust shadow top clothing part. And if you click on it, you can see it's yeah. Control Z to put things back, to go back, obviously. Control Z, you know, redoes it. And we are gonna take, so this is bust shadow top. So I'm assuming we need to take the bust, take the ID from bust, flip it to bust shadow. I'm gonna guess. And then this other one, there's two shadows here. This is bust base shadow. Then we take the base torso ID and clip it like that. Sorry, I was kind of in the way, but I already showed you how to do it. Yeah, you got this. I believe in you. I can't move myself every time. Okay, so that's that done. Now everything is clipped the shadows wise on the torso and neck. So now we're gonna move on to these face shadows. Side bangs. So this is gonna be clipped to the face base right here. And we're just gonna clip all these. You can select all the shadows by clicking shift and then clicking the bottom one. So, you know what, just move me. You can select things in a row by clicking the top one, then holding shift and clicking the bottom, and it selects all of them. and then we can just paste it into the clipping ID, and then all the shadows are clipped to the face. So that's something really handy that you can do. What else needs to be clipped? This shadow right here, this dress shadow, I'm assuming it needs to be clipped to the legs. So let's go into the leg folder down here and take the upper leg, clip that, the dress shadow, and then the left upper leg, and clip that shadow. Okay. Boom shakalaka. Now, I think this model doesn't have a lot of things that need to be clipped. At least that we can see right now. That doesn't mean we're done with clipping, because we're probably gonna have to clip like, oh wait, the eyes need to be. Ew, I did not just stick my tongue out. Okay. I was saying the eyes and the lashes probably need to be clipped in the bottom of the skin when the head turns, so that it doesn't float off the face magically, as well as the mouth stuff need to be clipped, but we'll do that when we get to the mouth. Let's just, for now, we're only gonna work on one eye, because when we're gonna copy and paste it, so don't even worry about this eye right here. None of it matters. It doesn't need to be meshed, it doesn't need to be clipped, it doesn't need to be anything. We just need to make sure we put it in a warp deformer with this other eye so that it reflects, what's the word? So that it reflects the same, like, it reflects, hold on, equally? I don't know, so that it reflects the same. Okay. Let's just clip. Okay, so sometimes we have to double clip with the eyes, which can be kind of confusing. So I don't know if we have to do that for these for these eyes. I'm gonna assume no. So let's just take the pupil, or let's take the iris and clip the pupil to it. And then we'll take the eye whites and clip everything else, like the highlights, the iris. I think that's it. And we'll clip that to the sclera so that it's not popping out. You can see it kind of, it was popping out, and now it's not popping out no more. Not popping out no more. Okay. I think that's good. I think that's all we need to clip right now. So, with that being said, let's move on to the warp deformers. So, this is something that I like to do. It's not necessary. It's not a necessary step, but it's something that I enjoy doing because it just makes my workspace it makes my workspace more organized. Right. So we're gonna take everything that's part of the model, even if it's not visible right now, and do that shift click thing so that everything is selected. And we're gonna go up here to our warp deformer, and we're just gonna call this whole body. Make sure it's the parent, and that's gonna put that's gonna make everything move, like the whole body. I'm lagging. Okay. Don't move the model around if your computer can't handle it, because you will lag. Okay. We're gonna separate it into basically lower body, upper body, and head, and then separate the head even more into the hair. So that's the one warp deformer, but it's still like connected to the head. You'll see what I mean with the parent and child warp deformers. It gets kind of confusing, but I'll try my best to explain it nice. So let's just take the lower body, and we just want the legs and the dress. So to do that, I'm going to, you can kind of see it, so I'm not going to move myself, but if you go to your part menu, and we're going to select the dress folder, the dress shadow, and the legs folder, and you can kind of see that, like, you know, it's not working properly. It's not really selected. That's because we have to select the parts that are inside of it. So the legs are being moved. So we're going to go to the leg. Right here is the leg, the legs. And we're going to right click and manage child objects. You know, I'm just going to go right here. And this is where I'm going to stay. I'm not going to be in the corner. Sorry. So I don't want to keep moving myself. But we're gonna right click, manage child objects, select all. It's right there. Yeah. And that's gonna select the legs. And we're gonna do the same for the dress and the dress. So now everything here selected. And we're gonna warp it. No warp deformer. Because it's so much easier than trying to find the parts in the deformer log, because sometimes they're like not all together. So in this instance, all these parts are right next to each other, but sometimes they're not. So it's easier to just go into the parts and find the folders that the artist created to select everything that you need, at least in the beginning, to like organize everything, if that makes sense. We're gonna name this lower body. Okay, now the lower body's in a warp deform. Alright. So now we want the upper body, which means the corset, the chest, the arms, neck, head, hair. Right? And the reason why I'm separating the upper body from the lower body is because when we do body Z, we are going to want to have this already separated. And if we've made a ton of warp deformers already and we've already started moving stuff, that's going to be very complicated to try and get everything into under one warp deformer again. So this is kind of an important step if you want to do body Z, like how I'm going to do body Z. So yeah. So I'm just going to do the same thing and take everything that I said and put it in a warp deformer. Yeah. Okay, so I kind of did this a little weird, and I want to explain what I did, just in case anyone else is like, I can't put them in there, it's too much. So, okay, what I did was, I accidentally unselected the corset part when I wanted that part to be part of the upper body. So, what I did was, I grabbed the arms, the chest, and the head, but not the back of the hair for some reason. That wasn't included. And I made the warp deformer, which is, where is it? Right here. Let's just, right here. So I made that warp deformer, and then I went ahead and went over to the deformer menu after, hello? Whoa. After selecting the parts that I didn't originally put into the warp deformer, and I just placed them in the deformer, in here in the deformer menu. Does that make sense? So I didn't put them in the part menu because for the most part you're gonna want to keep the layers that the order, sorry, that these layers are in the same in the part menu, because that's how the artist put them and that's how it'll appear in your model window, right? So if I move the bow, like this bow right here, if I put it underneath the hair, it's to go into a warp deformer, like this is just a hypothetical, it's gonna put it underneath it, which is not what I want. But if I were to do that same thing, put it under the hair in the deformer menu, it's gonna stay in the same place because it's not actually changing its layer order. It's just, okay, technically it didn't actually go under anywhere. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Okay. So now the upper body is all together now, is what I was trying to say. I'll probably explain this better in editing, but that's just, yeah, that's what you're gonna get for now. So if you're doing it the way that I am, and you're putting layers in after you already make the warp deformer, you can kind of see that the boundary box, I'm pointing like you can see me point, oh my god. The boundary box is not like, this is part of the head, but the boundary box ends right here while the hair ends outside of it. So to do that, you're gonna want to go to the red thing, hold control, and you can adjust the boundary box. Now, you make sure to do this before you start adding keys on your parameters, because it will mess with the way that you have it done. Like, it will mess with it. I can show you an example if you want, actually. So if I just put this in like angle X and I move it, and then I change the boundary, yeah, that's not what we want, right? So do that before you put keys on there. Make sure you have everything fixed before you put keys on there. So just hold control and alt if you want to make it even, and then boom, now everything is within the confines of the boundaries. So I think that's all we need to do for now. Eventually, when we start working on the rigging the model, we'll separate the eyes, the facial features, we'll separate like accessories, we'll separate bangs from the back hair, stuff like that. But for now, at least have whole body, lower body, upper body, and then in upper body you should have head. You should have head and hair warped deformed. Okay, right. So last step of this video, this is going to be a shorter one. We're going to set up our parameter folders and organize it a little bit, because this is hard to look at, right? So you can actually import, like I said, parameters from previous models. I'm assuming most of you who are watching do not have previous models, but in the off chance that you do and you didn't know how to do it, here's how you do it. So I believe you go to modeling parameter. Sorry, it's in bulk settings and model. My bad. So under modeling up here, bulk setting of model parameters, you can export or import. Export is how you get the parameters. If from a completed model, it will export all of the folders, it'll export all the extra parameters you made, as well as the original parameters that appear when you first boot up Live2D, right? But to import, you just click that, click OK, and you should have, it'll bring up like your folders, and it'll be called a CV something file. Let's see, CSV. So that's what you're gonna look for when you import parameters, and when you export parameters, that's what the file name is called, right? So that's how you do it, but we're not gonna do it in this case. We're gonna make all of our folders from scratch. So here's how you do it. Let's take our angles for right now, and we're gonna click this little button, this folder button down here. And it's gonna put all of them in a folder as long as you have them selected by shift clicking all the ones that you want, right? And we're gonna rename that. We're gonna call it angles. Whoa. I can't spell. All right. And you can kind of see it. We have a folder now, right? But it's a little hard to see. Okay, it kind of blends in. So we can actually change the colors by right-clicking label color in advanced setting. And this is just my personal preference. I like making it match whatever model, like the colors, whatever model I'm working. So in this case, it's going to be pink and blues and reds and like that, right? Or teals, I guess. So let's find a nice pink color. A nice red pink, light pink right there. Click OK, and now boom. Now you can easily see your folders, right? So we're going to do that for all of these parameters. Well, most of them. Some of them we're not going to need, and I'll tell you which ones you're not going to need now. You're not going to need any of these hair ones because we're going to be making our own. Okay, so we don't need to put any of these in a folder. We're probably not going to need the cheek one unless you're trying to do like some VTuber stuff. But this is a beginner's tutorial, so we're not doing any VTuber. So again, you're not going to need that one. You're not going to need brow X or brow angle. Either of them, brow L or Y. I mean, brow L or R. So you're not going to need any of those. The rest of them, we are going to keep. So let's take all of our unnecessary ones, select all of them, and just move them to the bottom for now. Because, like I said, we don't need them. But I don't like deleting parameters. Because what if I do need them? Like, we're not, but like, what if? You know? You can delete them if you want. It's a personal preference. Right, so now we're going to take all the eyes. So eye open, eye smile for left and right. As well as eyeball X and Y and the brows. So take all of these, put them in a folder. Call that eyes / brows. And we're going to color this one teal. A little bright. Hold on. I don't like neons. Yeah. Now the mouth is pretty simple. We just have mouth form and mouth open. And we're gonna color this one maybe like a pinky red to match these. And then our body ones are gonna be body XYZ and breath. And that's all of them. Body. Boom shakalaka, and we'll just make this one like yeah, the color of her skin. Why not? Why not, fam? Okay. So that's all of our parameters separated into folders. That is our layers in the deformer menu separated into warp deformers. And that is our model clipped. So I think that's going to be it. I said this was going to be a shorter video, but right now it's currently sitting at 25 minutes, right? Which is 5 minutes less than my first video. Wow. Short indeed. Okay. But that's going to be it for now. Look forward to the next part of the series, the next episode, because we're going to be going through the eye rigging. Yay! Eyes and hair gotta be like my favorite parts to rig. Hair, I like how it looks at the end, but I don't actually like rigging it. I just like how it looks at the end when I do like physics and stuff, but actually rigging the eyes is like my favorite part to do. It's so fun and rewarding. I love it. Right? So yeah, we're gonna be doing some eye rigging. So yay! As always, thank you for watching. I will leave all links you need to know in the description box down below, and also ask questions in the comments if you have any. I will try my best to answer all of them as precisely and quickly as I can. But other than that, I will hopefully see you in the next video. Sayonara for now. Is that cute? Okay, bye.